Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. It is a brand new week, so we are finally featuring a brand new team after using Hibiki VGC's Mega Alakazam team in the last 2 weeks or so, which was a really fun team to use. First of all, I do want to apologize because this episode went up a bit later than normal, and I wasn't able to get an episode up last night. I have a bunch of in real life things that I was taking care of. I was actually at Google's New York City office for a career seminar yesterday, which was really neat. But besides the point, we'll be back on track with earlier uploads for the remainder of the week, so thanks for sticking with me, guys. Anyway, this team was actually a team I played against at US Nationals, and my opponent wanted to see it featured on Road to Ranked, and it was a really cool team that I played against. I had a lot of fun playing against him. It was built by a player called Chance Alexander, also known as Magic Man Chance on Twitter. Go give him a follow. We played in day 2 in round 5 when we were both 2-2, so we're basically fighting for our top cut lives at that point. He also played on stream in day 1. Some of you guys may have seen him play against Alex Rubin. Regardless, it's a really fun team. Got some more standard picks like Kangaskhan, Landorus, and Thundurus, but some more unique ones as well, including the Blaziken, Ferrothorn, and Jellicent. He gave me a run for my money for sure. He almost beat me in day 2 and brought me down to 3 games, so I definitely enjoyed the team. It was really scary to play against, so I'm excited to be featuring it for the week, and look out for him at Worlds because he's a really cool guy, and I think it's his first year playing, so huge props to him for having such a good season. Anyway, we're gonna jump onto the ladder just in the 1700s after Mega Alakazam did propel us into the 1700s last week. We'll see if we can make a run this week and get over to the 1800s with this team. I do think this is a really solid team, so we'll see how far it can really carry us. But got a lot of fun things to use. I think the Blaziken here probably stands out the most just because of the fact that I actually haven't used Blaziken at all in VGC, and this is my first time using it, so I'm excited. But we're gonna find Aero from the US with a rating of 1761 to kick today's episode off. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Aero here has got a pretty scary looking team. Definitely screams Trick Room immediately, but Conkeldurr, Sylveon, Cresselia, Landorus, Kangaskhan, and Heatran. So let's see. Obviously, both of us running Kangaskhan and Landorus. A Blaziken here can be really good because of its ability to pick up knockouts on Landorus, Kangaskhan, and Heatran. Ferrothorn here also shuts down Cresselia and Sylveon, unless Sylveon, of course, carries Hidden Power Fire, which isn't completely unlikely. A Jellicent here is pretty solid as well, actually. I think Jellicent might be the key Pokemon to try to win this match with. Landorus, unless it has Knockoff, and even Knockoff doesn't do too much. A Heatran here really doesn't have a way to hit it for super effective. Kangaskhan's gonna have to rely on Sucker Punch. Sylveon, can Hyper Voice, but that's not doing more than 50% unless it's like max special attack with specs. Conkeldurr here, I'm definitely sure it has Knockoff. If it doesn't, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. So I'm definitely going to want to rely on Jellicent here, so much to the point where I think I'm going to lead with it. Jellicent here can just Will-O-Wisp things immediately and put on some pressure. So going to lead with Jellicent. Let's see what I want to pair it up with. Thundurus, not really a Pokemon I want to bring in this match. Could Thunder Wave or Swagger or Taunt, but not too appealing here. Might actually go with Blaziken and Jellicent, just because Blaziken puts on a lot of offensive pressure. I can potentially protect to get that speed boost right from the start. So let's see, maybe at first I discounted Ferrothorn out of this match, but I think Ferrothorn still might be good, especially to counter the Sylveon and the Cress. Maybe it's a bit smarter to pair it up with Kangaskhan. No, I still like Blaziken Ferrothorn, I think. Or Blaziken Jellicent, excuse me. Kang is still worth bringing in this match, especially if Trick Room doesn't go up. And yep, I think Ferrothorn here as a way to beat the Sylveon is important. So not going to bring Landorus in here. Of course, the Intimidate would be really nice against his Landorus, his Kangaskhan, and his Conkeldurr. But when we're thinking of damage output for my Landorus, I can't really do much other than potentially get an Earthquake off. And when you're facing against a team that looks like it has Trick Room on it, not the smartest idea to bring a Choice Scarf Pokemon into that match to start off. Might be, it's always good to have Intimidate, so that's why, I had second thoughts. But he's going to lead with Landorus and Heatran here, and Jellicent's very happy right now against my Jellicent and Blaziken. In fact, Blaziken is looking pretty good right now too, because I can immediately just put on pressure. Now, there are a bunch of questions, from the get-go, because if that Landorus wants to Earthquake, he could potentially protect with Heatran, and go for the EQ. I also wonder if he has Substitute here, because one play you can do is U-turn Substitute. I definitely have the lead advantage right now, though, and one play I can make is actually going directly for the Will-O-Wisp onto the Landorus and going for a Protect here with my Blaziken. And I do think that's the play I'm going to make here, but just because it's the safest thing. He doesn't threaten Jellicent at an immediate mount. Worst case, he goes for a knockoff, but then I get the burn off, and then I can just HP Ice recover the next turn. If he switches Landorus out, nothing on his team really appreciates taking a Will-O-Wisp. Of Of course, I guess the Conkeldurr, if it's Guts, I'm not entirely sure whether he's Guts or not here. You know, Iron Fist is resurging in popularity, but let's see. Blaziken's gonna go for the Protect. Landorus actually just launches the Rock Slide here immediately, so I guess my opponent deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna flinch you if I can. Jellicent takes a good amount of damage there. Heatran does get that substitute up, so guessing no knockoff there, he just wanted the damage, and unfortunately he does get the flinch onto Jellicent, which I was, you know, not too happy about that, but it is what it is here. But both of our Pokemon do have the leftovers, and that burn really would have shut down Landorus, so unfortunate turn there, but, you know, what can you do? So let's see. With that, I'm going to go for the Scald onto the Heatran, and I'm going to try to launch a Hidden Power Ice here onto Landorus. Actually, I wonder if he's going to switch out. Maybe I can just catch him off guard and go for a Overheat. What will he switch out into? Cresselia, Sylveon? I mean, knocking out that Landorus would be a huge relief, but I'll go for the Scald. You know, I don't think Earth Power knocks out Blaziken, so I mean, he could Rock Slide combo me. I'll go for the Hidden Power Ice here. Let's see if he switches out. Okay, he's going to play it smart here and switch out the Landorus, which is a good play on his end. Yeah, which is definitely a bummer I couldn't get that burn that first turn, especially since he didn't switch out. So Hidden Power Ice here, not going to do too much damage. Overheat, you know, would have helped out a lot. But let's see if I can at least connect with the Scald here. He is going to launch an Earth Power here onto Blaziken. That should... I wonder if it knocks it out. Yeah, it actually does pick up the knockout. Okay, so that was... Yeah, I should have just made the prediction there. I went for the Overheat onto the Conkeldurr slot. So I do lose my Blaziken, which is a pretty important Pokemon in this matchup. Regardless, he still doesn't have a great way to touch Conkeldurr right now, which is good for me. But, you know... That first turn still probably putting me on tilt slightly. I could have probably also just attacked with the Blaziken there, since you saw he did go for the substitute with Heatran. So my opponent definitely has outplayed me the first 2 turns of this game, and I'm going to have to make some plays if I want to come back and try to win this one. But you know, that's what happens when you pick up a new team and you try to learn with it. Gonna bring in Kangaskhan here for sure, because I can fake out the Conkeldurr. Perhaps even double target it here, actually, since it's not like Heatran's doing too much. So I'm actually, yeah, gonna Scald the Conkeldurr and go for the fake out here. I really want the Conkeldurr gone, just because, like I mentioned, I think once that Conkeldurr is gone, he really has no way to beat this Jellicent, and I'm assuming Conkeldurr here has knockoff. Heatran here, worst case, it gets a sub up, or maybe it goes for a Heat Wave. I'd imagine it's actually going to want to switch out here, because, you know, low kick does threaten it a lot as well. So if I can fake out Scalded, I could potentially also just low kick Heatran, Scald the Conkeldurr slot once again the next turn. Maybe potentially even pick up 2 knockouts. But regardless, I'm going to have to, you know, try to make some big plays right now and get back into this one. Both of these Pokemon are also huge threats right now to the Ferrothorn in the back. However, he's going to make a great play. He's actually going to switch the Landorus back in. That was definitely something I was considering. Regardless, I'll take that because I still get a lot of free damage off against it, potentially to the point where Sucker Punch can knock him out. The real question right now is, does Heatran go for the Protect? I would think he's going to go for a substitute here, but, you know, that's fine. I'll take it, and not the worst of positions right now. Yeah, Heatran's not going to protect here, so another great play by my opponent right now. Fake out there still does a decent amount of damage. A Scald Burn here would be really clutch. Heatran is going to set up another substitute here, but, you know, he is slowly losing his own HP, and he's not doing very much damage-wise right now. Jellicent is going to be able to get the Scald off against the Landorus. Does not KO it. Do we get a burn? So we do make up for the Will-O-Wisp miss earlier on. We do manage to get the burn there, which is kind of nice. So we'll take that. And that definitely gives me, you know, a big opportunity to try to come back into this one, especially with Jellicent recovering so much each turn. So that's really good for me. Landorus here does still threaten me with a potential, you know, Superpower or Rock Slide. So the question here is, do I want to low kick Heatran, or is he going to play smart and protect Heatran and just attack with the Landorus here? Because I think a better, the safest play right now is to just Scald Heatran and Sucker Punch Landorus. It would be a big mistake, I think, for him actually to not protect with Heatran right now. So I'll Scald Heatran, and yep, I'll just go for the Sucker Punch here, I think. I don't know, I really want to see if I can catch my opponent off guard right now and low kick Scald the Heatran, but that's just... It would be such a bad play for my opponent not to protect Heatran here, because if you protect, you get a free switch him back into the Conkeldurr, and that makes his position a lot better. So do a go for it. No, I think he's gonna play it safe in the position he's in right now. Wow, no, he's gonna just go for the attack. So low kick Scald onto Heatran would have been really good for me there. So I'm gonna avoid taking damage from that Landorus, so no superpower, but we're probably gonna see a Heat Wave coming out of this Heatran right now. But no, he actually reveals the Flash Cannon, so no fire type attack on that Heatran? Unless, no, he didn't go for Protect yet, did he? I don't think so. So this is a Protectless Heatran. That explains a lot. Interesting play there, a good one at that actually. So Heatran Substitute fades away, but that makes this match a bit scarier right now. Was definitely anticipating Protect, but now we've seen Flash Cannon and the Earth Power, presumably Heat Wave as his last one. That explains why it hasn't protected at any point in this match, and, you know, Low Kick Scald would have been really nice there. Though I guess I would have not probably, but a decent chance I would have lost the Kangaskhan there. So this is a bit scarier, but now I know I can freely attack into the Heatran. Now I just wonder, he's probably going to want to Mach Punch the Kangaskhan, and this is tricky for sure. Obviously, like, I don't want to switch in Ferrothorn, but I might actually have to here, just because Kangaskhan's too important right now. So I'm gonna go for the Scald onto Ferrothorn or Heatran, and yeah, I guess I'll switch Kang out into Ferrothorn. I mean, it's not a switch I want to make, but if Kangaskhan goes down, Ferrothorn doesn't win me the game against Heatran and Conkeldurr. Whereas even if he knocks out Ferrothorn, at least I can shuffle the Kangaskhan back in and get a Fake Out off. But I really wasn't anticipating this Heatran, unless he doesn't have Heat Wave, but that would be something. Like, he's just going to launch the Air Power here into the Jellicent slot, so okay, that's good. And, oh, actually get the Cursed Body here, which is kind of a big deal. So I do get the Scald off, but looks like Conkeldurr didn't go for the Mach Punch, so I'm guessing he's going to go for a Drain Punch instead, and Ferrothorn is not going to want to take that. However, he actually goes for the knockoff there. Okay. Oh, man, that KO'd me? Wow. That was a really strong knockoff. Is he banded? I wouldn't think so, but I was not anticipating that damage output there. That was really powerful. Maybe this is just me underestimating Conkeldurr's strength. So that puts me in a scary position, but at least I get the Kangaskhan in here. I mean, I think that Conkeldurr is just really powerful. I assume he has Heat Wave here. I really don't have options. I guess I could Sucker Punch Heatran. I mean, if I fake out Conkeldurr, then he can just launch a Heat Wave off. Oh, tricky, tricky. You know what, I'll just go for the Low Kick onto Heatran and the Leech Seed here onto Conk. So let's see. Man, ban Conkeldurr, that would be interesting. I mean, I really thought Jellicent would survive that, but I don't entirely know my Jellicent damage calculations too well since I've really never used it. He does just go for the Mach Punch, so incredible play by my opponent there. And yeah, unfortunately picks up the knockout here onto Kangaskhan. So Kang's going to go down, and Heatran here is going to launch a Heat Wave. So yeah, that's going to be game. Very well played by my opponent there. He eliminated Jellicent immediately. And I had a big opportunity to just low kick the Heatran, but I predicted the Mach Punch, and my opponent doubled up into the Jellicent slot. Thought I could survive that maybe, but unfortunately not the case. Very well played, and you know, my opponent had a pretty high rating, and you can see why. So good game. Unfortunately, we do lose our first game with this team, but that's alright. You know, normally I like to take the first 2 episodes with the new team to learn as much as I can. If anything, looking back at that one, I should have just denied Heatran sooner than later. I knew like Heatran was the biggest threat to my Ferrothorn, and I allowed it to, you know, get the final Heat Wave knockout there. So even though the team matchup looked like it was in my favor, it didn't work out too well. I also just immediately lost Blaziken, which wasn't a good look for me, whereas overheating the obvious switch out would have been a really good play. So, you know, a lot to take away from there, and Blaziken didn't do as much as I would have wanted it to do, so we're going to try to take advantage of Blaziken more and use it in the next game. But you guys can see why it's such a difficult Pokemon to use. If you make the wrong calls and your opponent predicts the protects and, you know, the right attacks, he easily just gets knocked out. So you really have to assess the skill level of your opponent and decide, you know, is he going to stay in, is he going to predict me to go for an attack, predicting him to switch out and whatnot. And that's why I think it's a Pokemon where it actually makes a bit more sense in best of 3 to me, where I can assess my opponent's skill level and gauge you know, how good they are and how they predict and whatnot. But we're going to try to get back into the 1700s as we find Auric from Indiana with a rating of 1634. Much different team from the last one here. Auric's got a team of Kangaskhan, Sylveon, Garchomp, Gengar, Milotic, and Meowstic. So, really looks like a VGC 2014 team here, I guess, with Sylveon and Milotic, but a pretty interesting team in general. Let's see. Blaziken here, once again, can be really good, but obviously, you know, we saw the mistakes I made in the last game. I'm going to have to try to avoid that. Thunderous might not be too bad here either. Once again, I do like Ferrothorn a lot. Its ability to Gyro Ball everything and Power Whip is really good, but it's going to want to avoid getting burned. That's the main thing right now. Jellicent here is not too bad either. The Gengar is probably what I want to take care of first. If I can knock out Gengar, I'll feel pretty good about my chances in this match. Something like Gengar and Milotic is a really strong lead combination from my opponent, I think, and I'm trying to figure out how I can beat that. And Thundurus seems like the best answer there. If I get Thunder Wave, the Gengar also, it shuts it down significantly, but yeah. Doesn't look like Gengar's too good of a matchup here for me. Blaziken Thundurus might also be a decent lead. Do I like that? I do like that. Do I even want Kangaskhan in this match? I mean, it's still worth bringing, I think. And for the last one, let's see. I don't know. Jellicent and Ferrothorn are both really good in this match too, though. I might actually just go with those two and just not bring Kangaskhan. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I do like trying to play games without Mega Evolutions, especially when I don't absolutely need them. I think a lot of players just feel inclined to bring their Mega Evolution because, you know, they're like, oh, it's my Mega Evolution, I have to bring it. But there are a lot of games at US Nationals where I didn't even bring my Mega, just a lot of games in general. So we're going to see the Milotic Sylveon lead from my opponent here, as I'm going to go with my Blaziken and Thundurus. So Thundurus, you know, decent. Blaziken here, not as much. Obviously, he's got the super effective water type attacks from the Milotic, and then he can also just Hyper Voice, maybe Icy Wind here. Yeah, not too great, but I can switch in a Ferrothorn here with Blaziken. Thunder's here, can Thunderbolt, can Thunder Wave, I could Swagger, which would be fun. But I think I'm just going to launch a Thunderbolt here onto the Milotic. I want to knock out Milotic before anything else, just because it's kind of a big threat right now. Regardless, Ferrothorn here can come in relatively safe, unless he's got Hidden Power Fire on that Sylveon. I threaten a knockout onto Sylveon the following turn. A Thunderbolt here might also activate a Moringa Berry, or a Citrus Berry from Milotic. It doesn't have either, actually. It launches, just goes for the Icy Wind here. So that does shut down my Thundurus a bit more, as, you know, first of all, it gets that damage output, but also ensures that he can outspeed me the following turn. Sylveon here, I'd assume, is going to go for the Hyper Voice, as he does. Let's see how much damage it does. Does a lot to Thundurus. I'm not sure if it's Specs. Nope, he's actually Life Orb, which makes a bit more sense there. So, confirms the item there, which is always good. But I'm alright with that play. The real difficulty right now is, does this Sylveon have Hidden Power Fire? If he does, poor Ferrothorn's going to go down without being able to do much more. Maybe Kangaskhan would have been a decent call here, but I guess I'll just go for the Gyro Ball, and do I want to switch out, actually? It might be worth switching out. Or I could just go for the Thunder Wave onto Milotic, but Thundurus is my only real way of beating the Milotic, and it didn't go for the Protect that first turn, so I'm actually going to conserve it here. Obviously, Jellicent's going to take some damage, but I'd rather take the damage than lose Thundurus, since I can just knock the Milotic out the following turn with Protect. He goes for a Protect. I just said knock Milotic out with Protect. I meant to go for the Thunderbolt. So this works out in my favor here. He's going to launch a Hyper Voice. Doesn't do too much to either of my Pokemon, but 2 already brought Ferrothorn down into 81 HP, which is kind of crazy. But Ferrothorn here is going to be able to get the Gyro Ball off, which is really important. That should be able to pick up the knockout here onto Sylveon, as it does. So good work there to Ferrothorn. It's really a great Pokemon against the right teams, and right now, his Milotic is completely shut down. He does absolutely nothing damage-wise. So he gets Scald the Ferrothorn fishing for a burn, but otherwise, nothing else. And Jellicent here is in a pretty good position as well. I'd imagine, you know, my opponent's best Pokemon to bring in right now is probably that Gengar, if he brought it. And yep, Gengar is going to come out here, so, you know, it does confirm that my opponent actually has it. Now we have some mind games, because I wonder what Gengar is actually going to do. Let's see. You could Shadow Ball Jellicent, or you could Shadow Ball Ferrothorn. I guess I'll go for the Leech Seed on Gengar, punishing him, and if he doesn't Shadow Ball me, with Shadow Ball the Ferrothorn, that is. And I'll Scald to break its potential Focus Sash as well, putting him in knockout range. So he's going to go for the Shadow Ball here, targeting, yep, going to target down that Ferrothorn. Is it even enough to knock me out? Wow, he's not. But he does smartly go for the Ice Beam here as well, so double targeting the poor Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn's going to go down, but we'll take that. So at least Jellicent gets a Scald off here. It does also confirm that he actually has Shadow Ball, just because not all Gengars carry Shadow Ball. Some of you guys may remember the Gengar I used earlier in VGC, which didn't have Shadow Ball. Interesting to also see Milotic with Ice Beam, Icy Wind, and Protect. So no Recover, no Mirror Coat. I'm presuming Scald is his last one. So that actually puts us in a kind of interesting position. And let me just make sure what my opponent has in the back. It's gonna be no, not Sylveon, Kangaskhan. Okay, so my game plan right now is he's probably gonna Shadow Ball. Well, if I bring in Thundurus, I don't know if Shadow Ball will knock me out or not. Because what I could do is just bring in Thundurus and then Thunderbolt Milotic Scald Gengar. But like I mentioned, I don't know whether it's a KO or not, so I think I might actually just sacrifice Jellicent here and bring in Blaziken. So what I'm gonna do is Protect, get the speed boost up, let him KO my Jellicent, and then the following turn I can just go for a double KO. So I'm gonna protect with the Blaziken this turn, and go for the, let's see, in the off chance that I survive, what would I rather do? I'd rather shut down the Milotic, yeah, so I'll lowest the Milotic here. But I'm gonna play it, not exactly, I mean, it's safe here, but I'm just thinking about the long term right now. And my Lodic actually goes for the Protect, which I'm okay with. But I'm guessing Gengar here is going for the Shadow Ball onto my Jellicent. Yep. So that's fine, that's how I wanted it to play out. That's actually better for me, but he does not pick up the knockout. Lowers my special defense as well, okay. As I get the Cursed Body. Well, that kind of makes this match a bit more interesting. Especially based off what his last Pokemon might be. I'm guessing it's Kangaskhan. If that's the case, Jellicent wins me the game. But what I'm gonna do this next turn, actually he really doesn't have a way to beat the Jellicent, I don't think. Even if he scalds me, that's fine. I'm gonna go for the Overheat onto Gengar now, and I'm gonna go for the Recover. Because neither Garchomp nor Kangaskhan can beat Jellicent. All I have to do is Will-O-Wisp and it'll end the game. But he's going to play it smarter here, withdraw the Gengar out. It is going to be Garchomp as his last Pokemon, so very nicely played there. I probably should have predicted that and gone for a Hidden Power Ice, but I didn't know if I wasn't sure if my opponent was going to be thinking about the long term or not. And that actually makes this match a lot more difficult. However, I'm still in an alright position. The main difficulty right now is that Thundurus in the back is probably going to be slower than the Garchomp right now. Scald does pick up the knockout onto my Blaziken as well. So you see the difficulty right now is I just don't know how good my opponents are at predicting, so I'm making what I think are the safer plays, and it's like if I hit him Power Ice there, then I basically win the game, but if I don't, now it looks like, the game's in my opponent's favor, so winning this one might just be a bit difficult in terms of closing it out. I think it's actually going to come down to whether I can survive the Rock Slide here with my Thundurus, and it's going to come down to a roll. This Thundurus is pretty bulky in the defensive spectrum, so I think I'll be able to, but we'll see. I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt here onto my Lodic and go for the Ice Beam onto Garchomp, and we're going to be in for quite the finish here. Really well played by my opponent there, though. He's not going to protect. Thundurus avoids the Rock Slide, actually. Really unfortunate for my opponent. As Jellicent doesn't flinch here, that's definitely going to be good game. A Rock Slide actually gets deactivated by Cursed Body, so you guys can see how clutch Cursed Body really is. Thunderbolt comes out and doesn't knock out the Milotic. He's going to launch an Ice Beam off. Is he going to knock out Thundurus? Let's see. 96 down to 2 HP. Jellicent gets the Ice Beam off, doesn't get flinched. Wow, what a crazy game. Does it knock out Garchomp? It doesn't even knock out Garchomp. Oh, that's the thing about bulky Jellicent. Well, now the funny thing is he can't Rock Slide me. Oh my gosh. But he can just Dragon Claw me, obviously. So maybe maybe it's time for some swagger. Even though I'd really hate to do that. And that's the thing about this Thundurus, that it doesn't run Hidden Power Ice. Otherwise, I might have considered Hidden Power Icing there. Also thought I'd be able to pick up the knockout onto my Lodic, but it got enough recovery from leftovers to hang on with a low damage roll there. So that was really heartbreaking. Wow. What do we do now? So if he's smart, he'll Dragon Claw Thundurus and just Scald Jellicent. So I don't think I really have an option other than swaggering Garchomp here. Swaggering Garchomp and trying to knock out my Lodic with Scald. I don't even know if I'd knock it out. Or I could swagger my Lodic, though he might Protect. So the question is, does my Lodic Protect right now? I'm gonna swagger the Garchomp. I think that's my only play. If he Dragon Claws, he's good for this one. Alright, so Swagger comes out onto the Garchomp. Let's see if he hits himself into confusion. 50-50 roll here. Unless he has the Lumberry, in which he'd be good. Nope, he does not have the Lumberry. Alright, Garchomp going for the attack. Hits itself in confusion. So Garchomp's going to go down. Is my Lodic going to go for the attack onto Thundurus here? Presumably so. We're going to see this. Oh, actually, no. I would think he might target down the Jellicent. But nope, he's going to target down Thundurus here. Scald knocks out Thundurus, so that's going to go down. RNG's definitely been my favorite this game. My opponent played better than me, and that's using Blaziken is so hard, man. Shoutouts to Chance for using him well enough. Scald here does pick up the knockout onto my Lodic. I actually wonder if the critical hit on Blaziken mattered earlier because, my Lodic being the more bulky Pokemon it is, often likes to invest more in the defenses and not as much in special attack. But, I'm not sure. And regardless, I probably should have just hit him Powered Ice that slot, but I just wasn't sure whether it could actually knock out Gengar or not. So now it comes down to whether Shadow Ball can knock me out. And he's gonna go for it. Last time I expected it to KO me, and he didn't pick up the knockout. And he does pick up the knockout. So that's gonna be a good game there. As I don't. Wow, that was all kinds of craziness. But you know, unfortunately 2 losses to start off with this team, but a lot of, not mistakes, but if anything, lesson learned. I'm going to play more aggressively with Blaziken. I'm just going to assume that my opponents are smarter players. You know, I was expecting to pick up knockouts when I really wasn't getting them. So from now on, you know, Blaziken basically was absolutely useless both games because of the fact that I basically just stuck around and didn't really do anything, and it got knocked out, and my opponent made smart switches. So going into tomorrow's episode, I'm definitely going to want to consider that a bit better, and so, you know, a lot to learn with this team as I go along with it, but still an enjoyable one, and that last one was a real nail-biter. A low damage rolls all around, and really, really crazy finish. But, you know, it's been a while since we've lost 2 games in a row, but a lot to learn, and, you know, we'll make sure it doesn't happen in the upcoming days. But yeah, really crazy episode to start off for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Leave a like always if you did, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, peace.